Hello, I'm Thal Smith, and I'm on another book review. And this one is on a children's book. A sophisticated children's book. And I mean this literally. This is a very sophisticated, very well written, very important and classic children's book that is very well known. Well, in a manner of speaking. It's well known, but it's not well known. I'm talking, of course, about The Wizard of Oz. Now, you might know this story, or think you know the story. I should be more specific. But, if you haven't read the book, you don't know the story unless you read this book. Because when you read this book, you see a totally different story than what you think. Now, just to prove my point, I want to read this little section here. The lion whispered to them that it was in this part of the country that the Kalidahs lived. "What are the Kalidahs?" asked the girl. "They are monstrous beasts with bodies like bears and heads like tigers," replied the lion, "and with claws so long and sharp that they could tear me in two easily as I could kill Toto. I'm terribly afraid of the Kalidahs." "I'm not surprised that you are," returned Dorothy. "They must be dreadful beasts." The lion was about to reply when suddenly they came to another gulf across the road. But this one was so broad and deep that the lion knew at once he could not leap across it. So they sat down to consider what they should do, and after serious thought, the Scarecrow said, "Here is a great tree standing close to the ditch. If the Tin Woodman can chop it down so that it will fall to the other side, we can walk across it easily." "That is a first-rate idea," said the lion. One would almost suspect you have brains in your head instead of straw." The woodman set to work at once, and so sharp was his axe that the tree was soon chopped nearly through. Then the lion put his strong front legs against the tree and pushed it with all his might, and slowly the big tree tipped and fell with a crash across the ditch, with its top branches on the other side. They had just started to cross this queer bridge when a sharp growl made them all look up, and to their horror they saw running towards them two great beasts with bodies like bears and heads like tigers. "They're the Kalidahs," said the cowardly lion, beginning to tremble. "Quick!" cried the Scarecrow. "Let us cross over." So Dorothy went first, holding Toto in her arms. The Tin Woodman followed, and the Scarecrow came next. The lion, although he was certainly afraid, turned to face the Kalidahs, and then he gave so loud and terrible a roar that Dorothy screamed and Scarecrow fell over backward, while even the fierce beast stopped short and looked at him in surprise. But seeing they were bigger than the lion, and remembering there were two of them to only one, the Kalidahs again rushed forward, and the lion crossed over the tree and turned to see what they would do next. Without stopping an instant, the fierce beasts also began to cross the tree, and the lion said to Dorothy, "We are lost, for they will surely tear us to pieces with their sharp claws. But stand close behind me, and I will fight them as long as I am alive." "Wait a minute," called the Scarecrow. He had been thinking what had been best to be done, and now he asked the woodman to chop away the end of the tree that rested on the side of the ditch. The Tin Woodman began to use his axe at once, and just as the two Kalidahs were nearly across, the tree fell with a crash into the gulf, carrying the ugly, snarling brutes with them, and both were dashed to pieces on the sharp rocks at the bottom. Oh, that's just one example of many actual near-death experiences that occurs in this book. Oh, and Tin Man actually chops a few people's heads off with his axe. Oh, I bet you didn't know that. You know why? You haven't read the book. You think the film is the story? No, the book is the story. The book is just awesome. In the book, Oz is real, okay? It's not a dream sequence. It's a real world here going on. Oh, anyways. This book is amazing. There's a reason it is a classic. It's a brilliant, well-written book. The story is hugely imaginative, full of amazing creatures. The flying monkeys aren't exactly the way you would expect them to be, but then again, hardly anything in this book is exactly the way you would expect it to be. The film isn't what the story is about at all. The painting's alright. I don't know if they're the original paintings or pictures, but they do pretty well. And, the book is just wonderful. I loved reading it. It's a brilliant book. It's a great addition to the Wizard of Oz. It's complete and unabridged. I love books that are unabridged. So, I definitely advise you to, read the book of Wizard of Oz. Know the true story, Don't just think that you think you know it because of a film that is completely unfaithful to it. And by the way, there's hardly even any songs in this book. There's only like one poem in the entire book. Yeah, just one poem. Not that I'm complaining. I'm just making a point. And there's all sorts of creatures you don't know about. There's these one creatures, they literally pop out their heads at you. They have no hands. They have a body like a turtle, but their heads pop out like a jack-in-the-box, and they knock you down off a mountain cliff. Oh yeah, you didn't know that. You know why? You didn't read the book. So guess what? Read the book. Read it. You must read it. It is awesome. Don't let a crappy film, disguise you from what the real story is about, because the real story is just awesome. Now look. See what that picture's doing? That's Dorothy, and the monkeys are actually helping Dorothy. How is that? Oh, you have to read the book to find out. Haha. Now read it. Read the book. Okay. Sorry if might seem a little rude, but there's one thing that annoys me, is how we think we know a story, but you don't really know a story until you read the book. You need to read a book to understand what a story is like, to see if an adaptation you think is good is not an adaptation. I mean, there is many books I have read and loved that the films are more well known, and the films have made them more notable, but the films are in no way near what the book was about, as in the case of this one, The Wizard of Oz. Anyways, it's an amazing book. See, there's the head creatures I was mentioning. Crazy, huh? I love this book. Oh, one other thing, just to surprise you further before I turn this off. Oz asked, "What do you wish me to do?" "Send me back to Kansas, where my Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are," she answered earnestly. "I don't like your country, although it is so beautiful, and I am sure Aunt Em will be so dreadfully worried over my being away so long." The eyes winked 3 times, and then they turned up to the ceiling and down to the floor, and rolled around so queerly that they seemed to see every part of the room. And at last looked at Dorothy again. "Why should I do this for you?" asked Oz. "Because you are strong and I am weak. Because you are a great wizard and I am only a helpless little girl." "But you are strong enough to kill the Wicked Witch of the East," said Oz. "That just happened," returned Dorothy simply. "I could not help it." "Well," said the head, "I will give you my answer. You have no right to expect me to send you back to Kansas unless you do something for me in return. In this country, everyone must pay for everything he gets. If you wish me to use my magic power to send you home again, you must do something for me first. Help me, and I will help you." "What must I do?" asked the girl. "Kill the Wicked Witch of the West," answered Oz. "But I cannot," explained Dorothy, greatly surprised. "You killed the Witch of the East, and you wear the silver shoes, which bear a powerful charm. There is now but one wicked witch left in all this land, and when you can tell me she is dead, I will send you back to Kansas, but not before." The little girl began to weep. She was so much disappointed. "Now go, and do not ask to see me again until you have done your task."